where we try to get into the nitty-gritty of metas that are rarely heard from otherwise. I'm usually joined by Andreas Buzz Aldrin, but today he chosen the role as a producer simply, and instead, as a co-host, I have a man who needs no introduction, so I'm gonna give him one anyway. The man with the largest underpants in the world, our pride and joy, the world champion, Jakob Hultman. Welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you very much.
Cheers.
He is, however, not the celebrity tonight. Instead, we bring you the Czech meta in the form of their representative Andres and Ondra. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys.
Hello, guys.
And to keep these guys separate, we will call Andre, and we will call Andre Rayos, correct?
Yeah, sure.
He's even now under his nickname, so it's fine.
This isn't a bad nickname that we came up with, but rather one that you chose yourself, right? Or someone gave it to you? Rayos?
Yeah, well, actually, I've played, before I started with the Game of Thrones, I played Wastelands a bit, and there was some person who was called the Reels or something like that. And I was really a kid when I played that, so I read it back and added the A to the name, so that's how Rios was created.
It's a good history lesson.
Okay, we have a tradition on this show. Before we get into anything else, we want to know, among all the brilliant characters in Game of Thrones, in A Song of Ice and Fire, who would you be? Andres?
Okay. That's a really hard question. However, I have my favorite, and it would be Kevin Lannister, definitely, because I am just viewing him as a power behind Tywin, and without Kevin, there will be no Tywin like the same. Yeah. He definitely needed Kevin for him, and Kevin was the only one who just had that Tywin aureola or auras around him after Tywin's demise, and probably he was the only character able to swing the whole situation in the Seven Kingdoms to Lannister favor. And I definitely understand why. Sorry, spoiler alert. Why? But I think it's not a problem here. Like, yeah.
No. Go
ahead.
Yeah,
Read the
I definitely knew why Varys had to kill him or assassinate him. However, it was really sad moment for me, and for me, Kevin is expression of stability, and something very reasonable. So that's Kevin for me.
And not seeing Varys for who he was is basically the only mistake that Kevin does. He always does the right thing to some extent. He's an administrator who always knows the right moves.
Yeah.
I like that.
However, it depends on point of view, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Even Kevin has limited knowledge. So.
That is true. Rios, who would you be?
Well, maybe Stannis Baratheon, because he's like an iron. But there's a little bit difference. I would never kill my brother.
I'm sure if your brother is watching this, he will be relieved to hear that.
But my follow-up question to that would be, if you would potentially be in love with like a Red Queen or something, and she would demand of you to kill your own brother, there is maybe a potential yes to that question?
I like redheads. What to say? I would be maybe thinking about it.
It's really personal question for us.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Sorry to burst out like that from the first question. We'll be better.
We like the hard. We would now go on to what's become our second tradition, which is that rather than introducing yourself, we would like you to introduce each other. Who are you? Who are you to the community? But who is Rios, Anders?
Okay. So Rios is one of the most long-standing players in our community. I remember even a time when I taught him the rules. It's even 8 years back or something like this. So it was really funny if I remember that situation, if I recall it or something like this. And I would say he is definitely cornerstone of our community, especially of course for first edition. Now there is another beginning, and it's not that quite easy to establish it himself or myself in second edition community. So there is an ever-growing interest, and we have much more players than before. So we are definitely encountering new faces, and Riot still is for me one of the purest expression of our community. And he is as well top 4 Stalek player. Yeah, that's nice achievement.
Yeah. And if we turn the question around, so Rias, who is Andre?
Well, if I say it from the basics, he's just the spirit of the Czech meta. He's our night watch, which means he's organizing tournaments. He's helping to newcomers. He's just helping in the meaning that he just helping with the decks, helping them introducing the game itself. Well, he's playing since I think 2003 or something.
Oh no,
he started
2006. It was different.
2006. Okay then, but the thing is that he started like he was playing the game against himself because he was only player in the Czech Republic. So yeah, he's really cornerstone of the Czech meta, helping everyone can. Nothing more I can say. I remember the first game I played against him on my first tournament. It's like really 7 years ago or what, and he crushed me. So since then, everyone who's coming through the tournament has some small achievement. It's defeating Andre for the first time. That's it.
I love it. It sounds like we got really the right people to represent the community.
Yeah, we are definitely enjoying we are playing with each other. So it's a kind of mind game, and I definitely like that kind of game the most. So that is.
How did you both start into the game? Did you read the books? How come you're playing this game?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's a tradition to start, so I'm going for it. I read the book. I started in 1996 when the book definitely was firstly introduced into Czech books. Probably they translated it, and that was my first encounter with J.R.R. Martin. However, then I just improved my English in the process and just switched to the original to be able to hear the direct word and directly communicate, so-called directly communicate with the author. So the game began in 2002. So it was six years after that. I was not aware of it. I just began to play the board game I suppose in 2004 or something like this. And then in 2006, I came into the venue, our specified shop called Outpost. It's no longer active, unfortunately. However, it was really a geek place, definitely. And I just looked at what they have at disposal, and there was a lot of magic on left side. And I said, no, I have enough of this. And then on the other side, there was Valerian Edition Starter, if I remember it correctly. So I decided, yeah, that's my favorite author. So I just pick it up, and thus began my love with this game.
When you were the first player in the Czech meta to start playing, how did you just pick up the game?
I was not there. There were some players who played in that Outpost venue before. They just started with Ice and Fire Edition, and played for something like 1 year or something like that, 1.5, and then there is a gap in between. And when I just began, their meta was already done, so I was just my beginning was on the directly from the scratch, and then I just started with 2006 with this at the end of the year. So that's my beginning, but not definitely the beginning of playing Game of Thrones card game in Czech Republic. So yes, sorry for interrupting you.
No, that's good. That's good. It gives us a bit of the history as well. Rias, how about you? How come you started with this game?
Well, what I remember, I have been at a place of my good friend, and there was his sister, which is now Andre's girlfriend, Dandali, and it was pretty interesting. They were playing some games, and her brother is not the real person who is going out or to a different city to meet people and play some games. It's something which he's not doing that. And they were like, okay, we have this game here, let's try it. And I was, okay, what's going on? And he was like, nah, it's card game. What do you mean? Something like Magic? Yeah, something like that, but it's more difficult than that. I was, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm really easily addicted to this kind of games. It costs really much money. I don't think I want to see it or play. Not really. So they showed me first matchup. It was like 3 a.m. in the morning. I think I slept in some part of games. Yeah, so they showed to me second time. I learned the rules. And here I am after 8 years. So
you got stuck, even though you didn't want to.
Yeah. But
you said you don't want to see it, and then it showed you to not only once but twice to make sure that you really saw it.
Yeah, but I will never be sorry for that because I met so great people, and the game is just awesome.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but Andre, you started in the CCG era. So you played the CCG, and Rias, you started with the first edition of the LCG. Is that correct?
No, I've played also CCG since I think Iron Throne edition.
Iron Throne
the second oldest or second newest CCG.
Iron Throne edition,
yeah. So Iron Throne.
So both of you were in the transition as well between the CCG and the first edition. Did you continue to play? Even when the game switched format?
It was. Yeah. I really remember that time. It was really hard time for the whole meta because our meta was growing at these times. And then first reset has come. It was like out of the blue. For 2 months, there was something indistinctive on FFG website saying like, wait for something to be revealed and so on, and there was even countdown there for 2 months, if I remember it correctly. And then out of the blue they said, okay, CCG is ending, and now we are going to change to LCG, and it's absolutely different and so on. And for us, it's like it's similar like for players of first edition and reset to second one. For some of them who just spend a lot of money really recently before that announcement. So some of our players just began and just bought 5 Kings edition displays and so on. So it was really a huge investment, and players got a bit angry at these times. However, we sit together there and discuss the issue, what we should do, and I just decided. I even wrote to Nate at this time just to explain to him that we are playing the Game of Thrones here for something like 1 year or 2 years. I suppose it was 2 years, and then we are enjoying it much and so on. However, this transition is quite difficult for us, and we are continuing for playing with combination of CCG and the new core set and to first chapter pack cycle and so on. And we decided to keep it together for one more year to be able to endure that transition more smoothly. So Nate was absolutely receptive to this, and he said, if I would play, I would do the same. I absolutely understand. And so we just use this to amend the effects or negative effects of this transition, and we're able to endure that. So we are here right now, and we were able to definitely find a way how to just minimize the effects. Only, I suppose, if I remember it correctly, only 3 players quit playing at these times, and community was something like 25 or 20, 26 regulars or something like that.
That's fantastic. So if you've both been in on both switches, do you think they learned their lesson from when they switched from CCG to 1.0? Was this transition better, Reyes?
Well, actually, I don't think so, because there was some maybe kind of agreement between the Night Watch, like the people who are organizing tournaments in countries, and in the first transition there was like many cards in CCG pool, and we just played tournaments with combined LCG and CCG card pool. So we played like all the LCG card pool, and I think it was 5 King Edition CCG, and we played like that maybe 1.5 year, I think, something like that. And it was pretty pleasant, because there was enough cards in the CCG. The game was compatible with the CCG, so it was quite easy. But now we have like 200 cards or what. There is 8 houses plus some neutral cards, and for example, for me, because I like control decks and some switch decks, it's like a really unpleasant way how to start with the second edition of LCG. It's the game has some potential, and nothing more to say, but it needs just some time to be more funny.
I would say, if I may, they definitely learned something. The first core set during the first transition, I mean the core set of first edition, was definitely badly designed or badly distributed, I would say. They omitted 2 important houses, so it was definitely not. I understand why they did it, just to reduce the size of or just that big box or whatever. And another option was probably to choose 4 iconic houses at according to their opinions. However, if you would say, if you ask everybody, Martels omitted and Greyjoy omitted. Sorry, yeah. However, right now, I would say the core set is much better designed, because you have all the houses, and what is for me the most appealing, even in that limited card pool, in comparison to the limited card pool of the first transition, is the fact how they handled the combination of houses via banners. It's definitely good things how to give the game more combinatorics, or more it's you have definitely more opportunities to combine, to test different options, different possibilities, and so on. So it's definitely better, and it's especially crucial for this limited card pool.
Yes, I have to agree with that. From this point of view, the second edition of LCG is much better than first edition.
It brings some great depth, and I think we all agree that the whole banner thing is pretty genius. How you can combine even like one main faction, one banner faction, and then you just turn and flip everything around, so make the other one a main faction and the other one a banner faction, and you can build two absolutely different decks, and that brings some great depth even in just the core set.
Yeah, I think
I agree with that, but I also like what Ondra said about if they would have been able to have some cards be legal from 1.0 for a while into this, because deck building, while there are many combinatorial possibilities, once you decided on your house and agenda,
but as Jacob said, I really like the banner idea, because as we all know, there was really possible to have some infinite loops in decks and those possibilities, and it was not able to keep in mind or to find out the way how to block these loops. And in the way we have just one house so we can use in the second house, it's much easier for developers or designers how to do those cards without these mistakes, and therefore we don't. I hope we won't see the restricted list again, at least for some
Agreed.
time.
It's
even one thing is really good, that they returned back the rules to have one copy of the plot 2 times. So it was back in Westeros and so on. That's the reason why Valar, Morgul is the original Valar, has that limit 1 per plot deck, and that is really another good option how to tweak with different possibilities in building your plot deck. So that's another good thing.
Yeah, I think that also the great idea was having attachments to be returned to your hand when the attached card leaves play. That's a great idea, because attachments wasn't really played if it was not really strong.
It's a bit better right now,
How is the Czech meta handling the switch to 2.0? Are you growing? Are you losing people? What's happening?
Yeah, we are really growing, really fast. It has definitely. If I just take some example, we have release tournament at the beginning of December. That was the time when Czech translation was readily available. There was some gap in between English and Czech version, so it's better to just begin with this. We are mostly focusing on English version, of course. However, it's good to have Czech translation available to attract new players and so on. So we decided to wait for release tournament, and we have around 20 people for the tournament. It was announced, I suppose, 14 days ago, before the date of the tournament, and now we have 17 people, and even the regulars of the first edition, most of them were not able to attend at that day. So we have something like 14 or 15 new players out of the blue. So, and then this trend is going to continue, because right now, from these players who were the newcomers at that first race tournament, they are right now regulars, even, because we have something like this Saturday we are going to have 5th tournament in Prague right now. So it's done on monthly basis, and we have around 24, 25, and for store championship. We had even 30 players there. So we definitely for regional, we have to find out new venue or new space for this, because we are expecting foreign players here. They are even asking me about this, and I have to solve this. So definitely.
That is an amazing problem.
Yeah, of course.
So it's working out really well. That's nice, especially when you talk about you only losing 3 players last time around when it switched to LCG, and now it's just growing and growing. We're seeing similar things here. It's really nice. we know very little about the Czech meta. What is typical for you guys? What kind of stuff makes you different from other metas?
Well, different. I think, for example, I'm not really sure how it's going in other countries, but in Czech meta, at least before the second edition, because I was just in one tournament because I'm still working on the weekends. But I've at least instead of one exception, I've never seen one person going to the tournament with the same deck twice. So we're really going with the different decks. We have some really great builders, and we are trying to improve in this way. And also, we are, for example, when we are training to some big tournament like Stalek or something similar, we are just having our decks trying to help each other, but it's common, I would say. But yeah.
So that kind of answers one of the questions that we had, which was if the Czech people are generally loyal to one house, or do you guys play around with different houses? So I guess the answer to that is that you play whatever you find is best at the moment, or?
Well, it depends.
I would say it's highly individual. It's more about player than about its nationality.
Because we know, for reference, we know that the Spanish players, for example, they're usually very loyal to one house. They usually play that house over and over and over until they win a world championship or something.
I think we have both examples. We have players testing a lot of different houses, so not loyal to every particular one, however, trying to find out more possibilities, more interactions, and so on. So they are, and then testing it during competition at tournaments, of course. And other players who are, even one of my friends is Martel regular, and he is definitely faithful player of Martel house only. I never saw him to play different house, so we have both.
So another way of understanding the difference between the Czech meta and others is you've been to some international tournaments, Starlex and so on. When you came to your first tournament, was there anything that surprised you? Were the cards, any type of cards that wasn't being played in Czech, either in Melee or Joust, were they something that stood out to you?
Do you mean directly my first ever tournament?
Yes.
Okay, so I remember it very well. It was Salzburg tournament held by Wolfgang. Definitely, there were something like 20, 25 players.
And just sorry to interrupt, but for the people who don't know Wolfgang, he's the one who's organizing Stalek, the European Championship.
Yeah, one.
Largest tournament there is.
Yeah, and if I remember it correctly, it was still CCG time, so I choose to play Lannisters and was able to go into semi-final there. However, I was lucky really during the tournament, and the choice of house was correct for the meta there. So I was able to get there, and I was defeated there by Daniel, Daniel Helmut's friend, who was definitely at the previous Across the Narrow Sea podcast. Yeah. For me, I was really astonished by the approach of the people to each other there. We were even offered to just be there for no cost. There was specific villa there. It was of the neighborhood of Salzburg, not directly in the city. And there were even garden party at the evening after the tournament and so on. Then we played some board games. Another day was melee tournament. So it was really funny. And that was by the most important impression out of it. So just I was not able to analyze the decks I encountered. However, I was overwhelmed by the friendly atmosphere there. So that's it. My first tournament. abroad.
Reyes, do you have any good memories from your first tournament?
Well, actually, my first tournament in abroad was also in Salzburg. It was great. It was actually after our regional, well, non-official regional in Czech, where I won, surprisingly. And I had some funny deck. It was Lannister Brotherhood. And I remember some games, it was trade manipulation, so I had some Lion Gates, and it was pretty funny. I had like a Greyjoy attachment, which was taking control of dragons, something like Daenerys Targaryen, where dragons doesn't kneel to attack. So it was some kind of switch with new dissensions. It was newly released there, so it was pretty funny. And I remember one game when I played again. There was the place where I met Helmut first time, and also the newly released card was Guston Grey from Martels. When I have like 9 powers on my Beric Dondarrion, and every time I had a chance to win, he just pulled out his Viper, took my Beric into my hand. Pretty funny game.
So
Well-
just to catch all of the second edition players who we lost there for a second, we're talking about a card from first edition called Gaston Grey. You know it from second edition, but it did something else in first edition. It's basically like the new Lannister card, pretty much. But it was much stronger. So it let you, as a Martell player, bounce one of your noble characters in first edition to bounce any character from the opponent's side, which had a cost which was equal or lower. So what Arias is crying about is actually his Beric Dondarrion with lots of renown power on getting bounced every round.
And perhaps we should voice that lots of renowned power on, because the trick with Brotherhood decks is that you don't have any power on your house card. Instead, you have it all on characters.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I can understand.
Yeah, but it was pretty funny. Well, I placed like third or something on the tournament. It was pretty great. And the most funny thing was that I played the 2 versus 2 melee on the Stalek this year as well with this deck. I played something else, but I used it on 2 versus 2. And I played with Haren one game, and he won the tournament day ago. I didn't know that, and I still like showing them how to play the game. And the day after that, I just heard from someone that he won the Stalek day before, and I felt like pretty asshole. It was crazy.
So, Andres, we've heard rumors about you. Rumors that kind of really enforce this notion that you are Kevin Lannister. You arrange tournaments. You arrange most of the tournaments in Czech, or most, or some of them at least.
Yeah, with Lannisters, you mean?
No, you
No,
arrange.
you're organizing.
You're organizing
Yeah, I'm organizing every tournament in Prague.
every tournament in Prague.
Yeah, we have active friends right now. There are 2 very active metas. One of them is in Prague under my tutelage, if you would say it or call it like that, and another one is in Pilsen. It's these 2
And I
metas.
hear that these tournaments have a remarkable prize support.
Yeah.
So
No.
this is actually inside information that we get from Helmut. It's true, we hear.
Yeah, it is, because my opinion is that every player should get something for his attendance, just to be more connected with the game, with its community. I would not say that it's that important. However, is one stone in the whole building. Yeah, so I am just one of the things are we have some prizes directly provided by FFG. However, from my point of view, it's not enough, and I would like to provide players something more memorable. So My good friend is owner of the venue, and we are able to discuss what we should provide as some additional prizes. And I am sometimes I was used to just get there some really good board games. One board game was for the winner of the tournament, and another one was like Sansa prize.
Oh, for the
I
last
would say
player.
even
Nice.
Sansa should be great and really memorable. Yeah, and another possibility
These
we
are
have.
not small board games. This is not, Travel Blocos. These are Imperial Assault, big stuff, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, we've heard that you've given away Imperial Assault as a prize.
yeah, I did, or Hobbit, Battle of Five Armies, or whatever. And yeah, and I have another habit, and that is for every player who was not able to made the cut, definitely. So usually, if you omit that 8 players or 4 players who made the cut, there is a bunch of players who definitely deserve something more than, and there is a time for random choosing. I'm definitely random picking. I'm definitely able to. No, but my habit is to prepare some cards, Game of Thrones cards, of course, and then players are taking them out of the table and looking at the other side. And for example, if I have some other prize like Jaime Lannister, whatever associated with Jaime or something like that, or some other characters, then whoever is able to pick up Jaime, he just won that. So it's random picking, very funny for players, and there is some kind of tension in it, friendly tension, and it's good for them to have it. So that's my opinion.
So for the Czech people seeing this who don't already know it, this is very, very impressive and not done usually. And I hope you give Andre the props that he deserves for doing this type of service for the meta, because this sounds amazing. I'm gonna make sure to come to one of these tournaments one day.
Great.
Just pull the right card
You
out
most
of it.
welcome, definitely. Yeah,
So-
I'm able to fetch some beers for you guys.
Whoa, awesome.
Ah!
Yay. We love
Some
that.
Czech beers of real quality.
Yes. So we obviously love drama on the show across the narrow sea, and we hear also from our the main source of all the information we get is Helmut, and he says that there are some interesting stories about the translation process for the
Yeah.
Czech cards. And to quote him, he said that there are a lot of interesting stories. Is there anything that you can tell us?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's a lot, and sometimes it's even I am main proofreader of this process, and sometimes it cost me a lot. It's even attack on my nerves, really solid. However, we have for the core set, the company responsible for translation choose one translator, and then they just decided to take him out, and every other product, like from the just to begin with first chapter packs, they choose different translator, which is how should I put it? He is not that skilled as a translator and should do another thing, I would say.
So did
And-
FFG choose that guy or no?
No, the Blackfire.
distributor.
Yeah, another distributor. It's our distributor here, main distributor of FFG products here for Czech Republic. Yeah, and he was. We just definitely with the work with previous translator was sometimes difficult. However, it was work between partners. We have different opinion on a lot of matters and have to find out to make some compromise and so on. So it was reciprocal way. We worked with each other, sometimes even diplomatically, and we were able to solve our tensions, whatever you would call it. However, right now another translator came. He was not even. He has no knowledge of this game. No knowledge even the translation process before him. He has no will to find out what was done, and just began to translate out of the blue. So imagine what does it mean. You have some traits just translated in a specific and particular way, and then he decided, yeah, it could be even another name for it, and just making that probably 20 or 30 times, and so on. And when you are working with him, it's somehow difficult because I have notion sometimes that he's not even write Czech properly. Yeah, so it's really hard way. And if you took into account that even the whole company is sometimes that distributor, I mean, they are making mistakes, like that famous leak of the cards, not yet, and that leak was composed of cards of rejected translation.
Oh, really?
I proofreaded the translation. It was unacceptable, and I rejected it and made some amends and translated. And somebody there, probably some admin of this website, he told him just reveal some cards to attract more possible buyers. Yeah, and then he took rejected translation and put it there, and even cards from 5th or 6th chapter and something like that.
Oh,
So
blasphemy!
yeah.
So let me get this straight.
So imagine my just imagine my position if you are finding out that there is a leak of such a huge leak, really huge leak, or an horrible.
I mean,
huge.
almost every other spoiled card is from the Czech.
Yeah, and if
translation.
you, yeah, that's one bad thing itself. However, then you are going to look at these cards and you find out that the translation revealed there or provided to public is incorrect. It's outdated translation. That's another bad thing onto it.
So I want to understand your role in this again. So they keep switching translators, and throughout this time, you've been playing the game, and you have some kind of official role. Are you getting paid to check the translations?
No. They asked me
it's
if
yet
I
again
would like
something you're doing for the community.
Yeah, of course.
You're slowly becoming my hero.
I guarantee to you that I would not deal with this translator if I could. So if I have any other option, I would decide it otherwise. However, it's for the community, and at the same time, I love the game. I love the books, and that's for me a really important connection. And I would like to be the game to be good, consistent, and easily accessible, and without any errors. At least
you're not talking about cosmetic stuff. If they're not consistent on the traits, that's a big problem.
He even made some mistakes. He was able to make more than one mistake, even in the first chapter pack. Major mistake. Card was not doing what that card should do. So it was horrible. Mistake with King Robert's Warhammer, kneeling every character there. Not the total strength count, yeah. So the horrible mistakes.
But do they listen to you when you complain? Do they change?
It took time, but I was of such a persistency that they decided to listen to me. And right now, it's not much pleasant to me because they are listening to me too much. If I would put it, it sounds weird. However, I would prefer arguing about my opinions, not to be the only person deciding the things. Yeah.
And you're not even getting paid for it, right?
I'm trying to do my best. However, I'm not omnipresent. My knowledge is limited. and I definitely prefer dialogue instead of deciding the link just like that. Yeah. So yeah, at least they are listening to me, and most of my corrections are accepted. However, they were even bad habit to just provide me that material for correction at the last possible moment. So that was their horrible habit. So I have something like 2 days or 1 day deadline to correct the whole cycle of chapter packs. So
Yeah, then
it's
clearly
really
they're
a
not
horrible thing.
anticipating arguing with you because one day
Yeah,
you send it in and then there's hours before printing.
yeah, definitely. And
It
I
sounds
was
like they should change the translator to you, maybe.
maybe, however, I am not sure if I would like to work with them on official terms. Yeah, it's difficult to to say it. However, right now with the last cycle, War of the Five Kings, they were at least able to deliver these materials for correction to me 14 days ahead or 10 days ahead or something like that. So I was able to check it 2 times, then give it to another people because more pair of eyes are able to find out correction, more mistakes and so on. And then I get that even in graphics. So there were 2 corrections in text and another round of 2 corrections in graphics, in PDF and so on. So I'm pretty sure that this is correct way how to do it, at least. And the War of the Five Kings should be solid. Then,
Okay.
yeah. So that's some salt and grain stories.
You are slowly becoming my new hero. Let's move on to the actual gameplay. Reyes, I heard that you complained about not being able to build real control decks, but are you enjoying playing the game apart from building decks?
Well, in the second edition, yeah, I'm playing. I have to say, but there are some decks which are really funny. I see the really big potential in Nightwatch because I really like the cards, but it's not enough yet. But yeah, of course, there are some builds which are really interesting. I'm enjoying the play anyway. I'm still trying to get used to the new rules. Like sometime I miss something like reserves on the plot, or I'm sometimes missing like to have full hand of cards or something like that. But yeah, I feel the potential in the game totally. As I said before, yeah.
I hope you're right. I hope there's a lot of potential in Nightwatch. I'm not seeing it yet, but I hope you're right.
Okay. Well, it's not the only house. Of course, there are some really interesting builds, but I'm not aggro player, so I don't see the way how to build something which I really like at the moment. But I feel like it needs. We have just 2 chapter packs in Czech yet, so I feel like we need the first series, and some previews are really interesting. Like after the first snow of winter, followed by the other card, which is there. Like I don't know the name, but it limits the reserve on an opponent's plot by 2. It's just a great combination, and I feel like it will be really fun to play after those.
It's a Reds in their midst.
Okay.
Yeah, but I find that the low reserve that card has goes poorly with the Ravens and the other stuff in Nightwatch. But
well, I'm not saying it's just for Nightwatch.
no, it's
That's
not.
all?
We have the card here. Let me have a second.
Do you have it? Okay.
Rate in the midst is, of course, a neutral plot. It has a reserve value of 5, and it reduces the reserve value of each opponent's reveal card by 2.
Okay, so yeah, I'm not talking about just Nightwatch in this case, but
Okay.
I feel like it's a really good control plot.
Yeah.
In general, yeah.
Maybe for different Greyjoy deck in the future.
Of course.
Reserve denial.
We only talked about Joust so far, because
Yeah.
in Melee, combining it with someone else playing First Snow Winters.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Table
Well, to be
talk
honest,
politics.
Yeah. In Czech, there is not many melee players, I think.
You will find the game soon. It's great.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jacob.
Focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I was just going to continue and say, since it seems like you're enjoying second edition, apart from the translation part, and you're slowly moving into the game. Can you tell us a little bit about the common decks in Czech? Is the game growing when it comes to building different kinds of decks? Are people enjoying building with the different factions and the banner houses, etc.? What are the common decks?
Okay. Mm-hmm. So one thing that is worth notion is the fact that I was surprised that we have not so many Targaryens here, as far as I could see. So at the tournaments they are really successful. However, there are really few players choose them as their first choice during the game. So I was quite surprised by this fact, because I do not think that right now, if you take Targaryen Felty, for example, it's not that difficult to be able to memorize the correct time of all the interaction in this deck. I agree that sometimes correct way to trigger the interactions in there could be difficult for new player. However, I would say that it's still manageable, and it's really satisfying to play with Targaryens right now. However, their main weakness is the fact that they have only one reliable in-house source of draw, and it's Dany, so they are really dependent on her. So it's quite problematic, and it's their weakness right now. However, that is one thing. So I am surprised by the fact that we have really low number of pure Targaryen players, or maybe players are not playing Targaryens that frequent. And another thing that is really frequent here is Lannister-Tyrell combination, and Lannister in every possible combination. So a lot of banners here, and a lot of first houses. We have even some no agenda Lannisters here, because
really?
Yeah, and player at Store Championship player made top 4 with them,
With no
and
agenda?
his reasoning for it was that he was not satisfied with the fact that Felty limited number of his neutral cards there, and at the same time he thought that Lannister should be able to overcome the economy issue easily or they are most fitted to overcome it by Tywin and so on. So that was his reasoning.
I saw that reasoning. I think it had some value before Lord of the Crossing. I think Lord of the Crossing just seems like better than no agenda.
Yeah, of course. But that instance was before Lord of the Crossing.
Okay.
Oh,
right now
makes sense.
I believe that this player is going to switch to Lord of the Crossing, of course. Yeah. And
But that leads us.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
We have even really solid number of Martel banners. Yeah, because that soft control is
area.
Yeah, it's really fine for people. It's relatively easy to handle, and it's really fitted in practically every deck. So that's the main. We have not so many Tyrells, but right now I'm expecting some Tyrrell crossings, probably, because for example, this tournament we are going to play on Saturday. We have no fourth chapter pack is not legal yet there for it. So I'm expecting some burst of crossing and more Tyrrell crossing. Without the first snow winter, it's quite solid choice. Yeah.
So no middle ground is not legal yet.
Not for the tournament because the no middle ground was readily available this week. So my opinion is when I am just announcing the tournament, something like 3 weeks before, I would like for the players to be able, especially for new players, not for veterans. Yeah. However, for new players, when they are about to encounter some really meta-changing cards, like First Snow definitely is, or probably in some manner Blood of the Dragon as well for them, because just to wipe out of reducers, people are definitely accustomed to play them everywhere, especially if they are playing two houses and banners, and then they are going to wipe out. So it's something for them, some novelty for them, for these new players. So it's better to have at least, for me, 10 or 14 days for testing, or at least a week. And chapter pack came on Monday or something like this. So I definitely decided not to legalize it. Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of touched on it already, but how much does each chapter pack toss things up in the air in your meta? Like, obviously we know that the fourth chapter pack has First Snow of Winter and some other pretty strong cards in it. But have you seen a lot of things mix up as soon as a new chapter pack comes out in your meta, or do people tend to stick with their decks?
My opinion is that players, or they already expressed that opinion to me, that they are definitely enjoying the fact that we have tournament held on monthly basis, and for every tournament the legality is changed, because for the first time FFG is able to deliver the chapter packs in a monthly basis as well. So it was definitely not something common with first edition. And right now, they are enjoying the fact that for every following tournament, the meta is a bit changing. They have new cards available. Another chapter pack is added to the legality. Right now, it would be much more impactful because Wolves of the North, together with No Middle Ground, will come in for May tournament in May. And I think people are definitely changing their decks. They are trying to find out some sweet spot to include important cards on their point of view, of course, according to their point of view, and trying to adapt to other changes for very frequent deck choices in our meta, like, for example, Lannisters are everywhere. So anybody who is going to play have to just count with them and trying to adapt to them if he is not playing them himself. So definitely yes, the decks are changing from every tournament to another one.
That sounds like a very healthy meta. Before we end this fantastic interview, they give me so much new insight into what's happening in the Czech Republic. Do you have any shout-outs? Anything you want to say about tournaments coming up?
Yeah, I would definitely like to welcome everybody at our regional tournament. There are going to be two of them in Czech Republic. One of them in Pilsen, as I said, and another one here in Prague under my tutelage. As I said, I am trying to dig in some different space, more comfortable space for bigger number of players, because capacity of our venue is limited right now, and we even nearly reached the limit. So right now we are on a good way with this investigation, and I was able to find out a really nice place of restaurant in the middle of the small fortress. It's called Speicher in Czech. It's a small fortress with a lot of surrounding space, and in there there is a particular restaurant, and in there should be possible to have a lunch or whatever, some Swedish tables, if I would say, and if I should say.
Do we have a date for that?
Yeah, we are. I have to cooperate with that Pilsen owner of the venue, because I would like to have both tournaments to be at least 14 days of each other. Yeah, it's better than to have cross the dates. And it seems that at the end of the May, there will be around one tournament, and 14 days after that, during the, I suppose, 12th of June, there should be another one. Every tournament should be on Saturday.
Interesting. We might need to
I'm going to announce both tournaments in time, so I'm going to announce them something like next week, or most probably in 14 days. Yeah, so I would like to have it nearly 2 months ahead. Yeah, so definitely.
That sounds good.
The point.
That sounds good. Prague is a beautiful city as well.
Yeah.
The point of this video chat is to get close to metas that we rarely hear from. Who would you like us to talk to next?
Okay, if I remember it correctly, in previous Across the Narrow Sea there was French guys,
France, Germany, and now the Czech Republic. Everyone else is open for grabs.
Okay, so I would say for me it would be really interesting to have a Austria meta or Polish meta.
Austria,
both very good options.
Yeah,
really
we have friends in both metas, a lot of them, so that's really nice option for me.
I think our plan is to have Austria closer to when Stalek's plans are ready, but we'll look into Poland for sure.
We do have some insiders in Poland as well, and some crazy stories.
Some crazy stories.
Somewhat related to Sweden.
Yes, you're offering us beer. Poland will be offering us stronger things, I guess. Is there anything, if we get Poland on next turn, is there anything you would like to ask them?
Are they going to attend our regional?
Oh, that's a good question.
But I already know that they are, so it's not that question, definitely. What would I ask them? I overheard that the metas, different metas in Poland, there is a really huge growth. If you compare it with Czech Republic, we have something like 10 million people, and Poland is much bigger. So I would definitely ask them if all the metas in all the former metas are flourishing as well. That was definitely my important question for me.
Interesting.
Reyes?
We'll take that.
Do you have anything to add? What do you want to... You know what decks they're bringing to Prague?
Well, maybe I would like our regional, and we can maybe convince you that we are not drinking only beer.
Oh. We'll definitely arrange something for Stalek at least.
Okay.
Of course.
Are you both coming?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Fantastic.
Great to hear.
Well, thank you very, very much for being on. And thank
you
to the viewers who have been watching. This is Across the Narrow Sea, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you for the invitation. It was a pleasure for me, definitely.
Yeah, totally. Thanks.